Welcome to the WA Football Commission Metro North Bouncedown for Youth Coaches. Whether you're new to the role or come with years of experience, today's session is designed to provide coaches with the information they need for the upcoming 2024 season. This information is for the Metro North competitions Year 7 to 12. The WA Football Commission has a number of staff members available in the Metro North to assist clubs, and our staff include Head of Competitions Brad Gardner, Coach Coordinator Bank Denneman, Competitions Team Leader Kathy Monk, Competitions Administrator Sandy Swift, Competitions Administrator Amy Crane, Participation Officers. So for Claremont District, you've got Alex Alberti, for Subiaco District, you've got Corey Dullard, and for the West Perth District, you've got Mitch Papanis. To the coach's role and requirements for. Take a look at the coach's role. So each team is required to have a head coach to lead the team through the training and game day experiences. And basically they're responsible for creating a fun and safe environment, being a positive role model, and having a clear focus on player development and welfare. So we want to have coaches that instill belief within the playing group, but more importantly, allow the kids to learn and grow and enjoy it while doing so. Coaches must be accredited. So the coach accreditation process is fairly simple, all done online now, and it's very easy to achieve if you haven't done so already, but also in the scheme of actually re-accrediting yourself and making sure that you're up to date with the modules. Also a very simple process to tick these off. So log on to coach.afl, re-register if you're a current coach. If you're a new one, you'll just need to do the online onboarding form, and obviously the registration and accreditation is free for 2024. Accreditation, you get some access to some really beneficial resources. So as you can see here, it basically outlines how new coaches come on board, renewing coaches, but more importantly, the ability to access tools like RM Coach and the Junior Coach curriculum are vital in terms of not only upskilling you as a coach, but also assisting you in terms of training plans, drills that you may run, how do you keep it engaging for the kids that you're coaching, and also new and innovative ways to start thinking about the game moving forward. So the Junior Coach curriculum obviously designed in terms of the level that you're coaching at. So you've got level 4, level 5, level 6. As you can read by the brief description there, it's designed for the players turning certain age. Obviously, the higher the level, the older the kids are, and obviously focusing on the skills and the needs of the game and the current shape to upskill your team as quickly as possible. Here's a brief overview of what a training session structure should look like. Obviously, understand clubs train different time lengths, different days, different amount of sessions per week. So the ability to be prepared for your training session or sessions throughout the week is vitally important. I think as a coach, it gives you an understanding of what you're going to do and the ability to flow through the session, but more so for the kids, they gain an understanding of what drills that they're doing, but they can see that you're confident in what you're actually preparing and then delivering to the group, and ultimately that will rub off on them in terms of the way that they perform throughout the training sessions and the flow that you'll have from drill to drill. Obviously, it's just a brief breakdown. Through my role here as a coach coordinator, I'm happy to come out and assist you with what this looks like and certain drills to run in certain periods of the training session. But as a coach, it's a really good thing to explore and see what works for your group, and the ability to ensure that we're still teaching the skill fundamentals of the game while also the method styles as well. Ideally, we'd love a football for every player, or one between two. And we really want to set up the session with lots of touches nice and early. So the players that ultimately are still learning the game are still having the enjoyment factor of touching the football. So when it gets to the gameplay or the method style towards the end of the session, they might understand it a little bit better considering the confidence that they've gained through the skill component of the session. Obviously, at the WAFC, we offer coach workshops. So this is a conjunction where I would work with the coach coordinators at your football clubs to arrange a time to come down and assist. But more importantly, I would love for you as coaches to reach out to your coach coordinators on specific areas of the game that you're looking to develop your players in, or your group in, your age group. And obviously contacting me, and that would insist on me coming down and giving you a hand at training, throwing up some different ideas. And obviously we can be very specific and also very broad at the same time. So some areas we look at is game day coaching, tackling and physical presence, the effective training. So how do you make a training session fun and engaging for all? And then the training attendance is more so me coming down, casting an eye over everything, and then giving some really specific feedback to you as a coach, and also some points you can take away moving forward. So constantly having that check-in with me as a coach coordinator, but more importantly with your junior teams as a whole. And tackling component of the game. This is one that's very topical at the moment with obviously the new concussion protocols coming in. So we want to make sure that we're teaching the players the right way to tackle, to be tackled, the right way to position your body, the right way to approach the ball when you're about to be tackled as well, or take physical contact. Slides will roll through the tackling technique. So here's an example of a front-on tackle.
Here's an example of a front-on tackle. You'll see the tackler watching the player with the ball. As the player will move, the tackler will look to get alignment with the inside shoulder and then get her head in position to protect herself. We'll see again, we pause, she's driving her legs in, protecting her head to the side, forcing the player into her chest and wrapping the player up. As you can see, there's no twist, lift, and then dump.
Moving on to the tackling technique, there's another angle from the front on here. I'll just let this video play.
This example shows the tackler taking short steps to get nice and close to her opponent. Then we focus on shoulder alignment. The tackler wants to get her inside shoulder in line with the ball carrier's inside shoulder. Here she does this correctly. She also gets low and protects her head by putting her ear to the rear. This is making sure your head is behind the person you are tackling so you don't give yourself an injury.
This last one here is a tackling technique from the side.
This slow motion clip shows the tackler getting her feet nice and close, good shoulder alignment, and driving her legs through the tackle.
So as a coaching group, we've just got some key coaching links here. So you've got the coach.afl website, the Facebook page, Coach AFL Network, the community coaching positions and jobs page as well. So ultimately use these resources to the best of your abilities, work within your clubs to network as coaches, and also look to your districts. So look to your Waffle and Waffle W clubs in support as well, because ultimately, they're there to guide you and assist you as well as us at the WAFC. So don't feel afraid to reach out to them, or potentially go and watch a game or watch a training session if that becomes available to you.
And regulations. Each year, the WA Football Commission releases a document that contains all the rules, regulations and policies that govern our competitions. This document can be found on the WA Football website. This document is an essential item for all coaches and you should keep a copy of it in an easy to find location so you're able to answer any questions from parents, players, volunteers or team managers. The Rules and Regulations document outlines a number of policies, many of which you should familiarise yourself with prior to the season beginning, so that you can confidently answer questions like, do we still play when there's thunder and lightning? What happens if someone is vilified on the field? What happens if someone makes inappropriate comments or is bullied on social media? And how many games do I have to play to qualify for finals? Whilst we won't go through every policy today in its entirety, we will cover some elements, but recommend you take the time to read through each of them prior to round one. One of the most important parts of the Rules and Regulations document is the section on the spirit of junior football. This section outlines that every participant needs to understand that junior football in Western Australia is delivered to the community with the spirit of the game in mind. The spirit of junior football is designed to maximise the enjoyment and development of junior footballers by providing our children with a game that is safe, fun and fair. We ensure the spirit of junior football is obtained by upholding, promoting and protecting the rules and regulations, the laws of the game, the codes of conduct and spirit of the game. Above all, everybody involved in junior football must not engage in conduct which is unbecoming or likely to prejudice the interest or reputation of junior football or bring the game of football into disrepute. Encompassing the spirit of junior football is our equal opportunity policy. Under this policy, the coach is required to ensure all players, regardless of their age, size, gender, ability or the competition they are playing in, are given an equal opportunity to play in a variety of positions on the field. All players must also play at least 60% of a game each week. This is important in allowing players to gain experience and learn and develop the skills of each position. Adhering to this policy and its intent ensures all players and parents feel they are getting a fair go and are part of the team, enhancing overall participation in junior football. This part of the equal opportunity policy is monitored by teams utilising a player rotation app. Each week a volunteer will be needed to be assigned to operate the interchange app that records when players are on the field and when they are on the bench. The interchange volunteer cannot be undertaking another role on the day, such as runner, team manager, first aid, or the coach. Each year we receive numerous queries regarding the rules surrounding player eligibility and moving within teams. Please be aware that the following applies. Players may only play for one team in their correct age group. Players are permitted to play up into a higher age group as long as it is by no more than 1 year. This means a Year 7 player can play up into a Year 8 team, but not a Year 9 team. For our split age group competitions, this means a Year 8 player can play up into the Year 9-10 team, but a Year 7 player is not permitted to do so. If playing up, players can play for more than one team in the older age group. This has changed from previous seasons and allows more flexibility for clubs and teams. Remember that players may only play up on a temporary basis, a maximum of 4 times. Once they play their 5th game for the older age group, they must remain with that team for the rest of the season and are unable to return to their correct age group until the following year. If a player is going to move up to an older age group, the club registrar must submit a request prior to the 5th game being played, nominating which team the player will stay in for the remainder of the season. Please ensure players' parents are aware of the rules, and as penalties may apply for breaches of the player eligibility rule. The E-point system. Year 7 to Year 12 competitions have E-point system implemented. A maximum of 4 E-points can be awarded per team for each game during the regular season. E-points will not be awarded for any poor game day behaviour such as yellow and red cards, melees and umpire abuse. E-points can be aligned to a player, spectator, coaches and officials for poor game day behaviour. In season 2024, we'll see the introduction of 2 bonus E-point rounds. Bonus rounds will see all E-points awarded doubled for teams displaying positive game day behaviour. The first bonus round will occur between rounds 1 and 4. The second bonus round will occur between round 11 and 14. Another important game day policy is the even up policy for Year 7s to 9s. This policy outlines that teams playing one another must be even on the field at all times. This is achieved by sending players from one team to play for the opposition. It is important to note that you only have to even up on the field. You do not need to provide players so the opposition has a bench. Players that are sent to the opposition to play must be swapped each quarter and must give their full effort while playing for the opposition. As a coach, please ensure that players lent to the opposition are giving their best effort. Players seen to not be giving their best effort whilst playing for the opposition can be issued with a yellow card. Players sent to the opposition are either to turn their jumper inside out or wear a spare jumper provided by the opposition. In 2024 for Years 10s, 11-12 males and Years 9, 10 and 11-12 female competitions, the even down rule has been implemented, meaning players are not required to play for the opposition team to even up. Instead, the team with the higher number of players must equal the playing numbers on the field and run with a larger bench. For Year 7s to 9, it is important to note that the even up rule is in place at all times. This means if you are not currently in an even up situation, but the opposition team has no bench and one of their players leaves the field due to an injury, your team must immediately remove a player to ensure the teams are even on the field. The player removed should be the closest player to the interchange area to ensure teams are even as quickly as possible. The only exemption to the even up rule is when the opposition is awarded a yellow or red card and has no player on the bench to replace them. In this scenario, you're not required to send an additional player to play for the opposition. It is also important to familiarise yourself with the mercy rule. As outlined in the spirit of junior football, it is important not to focus on winning at all costs. If it is clear that one team is dominating another during a game, both teams should work together to equalise teams however possible. This may mean adjusting player positions on the field, asking players to kick on their non-dominant foot, or asking your defenders to simply punch the ball in a contest rather than marking the ball. These simple changes to a gameplay should be explained to players as a way to increase player development and ensure the game is enjoyable for all players on both teams. Coaches do not need to wait until the margin is 60 points plus to implement this policy. Earlier implementation makes a better game for all players. Please refer to the WAC Match and Ground Operations, Section 51, the Mercy Rule. Unfortunately, there are times within our game where players can be injured and a stretcher is needed. When a player is injured, it can be a stressful time, so by understanding the policy, you can help keep your players and families to remain calm. Most importantly, when a player is injured, only authorised persons are permitted to enter the playing field to assist the player. This means only the first aider, runner or player already on the field can approach the injured player. We understand it can be difficult for families watching, but please ensure they know that they are not able to run onto the field to assist their child while the stretcher is being called. As we have seen in past incidents across junior football, whilst the parent's intention may be to approach their child, parents from the opposition team may believe their child has now been approached by an adult and then they also enter the field. This results in an escalation and potentially volatile situation. For this reason, there are heavy penalties for unauthorised adults entering the field of play, and these range from 4 to 16 match bans. So please ensure your parents know not to enter the field. If a player is removed from the field of play by a stretcher, then they are not able to take any further part in the game. If a player is assisted from the field in any other way, such as chairlifted or supported off, it is important to note that they are not considered to have been stretchered off and may return to play, but only if the first aider clears them to return. The rules of our game are ever evolving, and in 2022 the junior community football adopted the same rules as per the AFL with some modifications. These rules will continue in 2024. These include the protected space for kick-ins, standing the mark, and not having to wait for the flags following a behind. Year 11 and 12 male competitions will require a boundary umpire to assist with throwing in the ball. All other youth age competitions are encouraged to provide a boundary spotter. This means a volunteer who will run the boundary to assist the umpires with the last touch rule. The spotter simply indicates the ball is out of play by raising their hand and blowing a whistle if they have it. However, this position is not mandatory. Melees and E-points. Any team involved in a melee will automatically not be awarded their 4 E-points, and fines may also apply. A melee is defined as an incident involving 3 or more players and/or officials who are grappling or otherwise struggling with one another, and which, in the opinion of the field umpire or any other person authorised by the WA Football Commission, is likely to bring the game of Australian football into disrepute or prejudice the interests or reputations of the WAFC or the competitions conducted by the WAFC. Water runners are again not permitted in season 2024, and players need to bring their own water bottles. Please encourage good hydration before and after the game, as well as during breaks and interchange during the game. Concussion protocols. All clubs and teams must treat concussion and head injuries with the utmost importance to ensure player well-being. Any player who suffers a head knock at a match should be immediately removed from the field and assessed for signs of concussion by using the free Head Check app. A reminder that the first aider has the final say as to whether a player can return to the field and should not be pressured into allowing the player to return to the game. When in doubt, please sit them out. Any suspected concussions must be reported to the WFC by your club. All players with suspected concussions must seek an urgent medical assessment with a registered medical doctor. Once a concussion has been confirmed, the player and family should be made aware of the WFC's concussion policy and the mandated 21-day graded loading program outlined by the WFC. Please remember that the 21 days is not a standard wait and play, it is the minimum requirement, and all concussions should be treated as unique and assessed independently. Any player with a history of concussions or reoccurrence of symptoms should have a more conservative approach adopted. Returning to play after concussion. Multiple concussions in the season. If a player receives a second concussion in the season, then the player must be assessed by a doctor or medical practitioner who specialises in concussion management, and to be medically cleared by them in order to return to training or play. The WAFC can assist clubs and families in identifying doctors who specialise in the field of concussion. If a player receives a third concussion within a season, combined across any competition, i.e. club, school, training, AFL 9s, etc., then it is highly recommended by the WFC that the player does not play for the remainder of the season and should continue to be assessed, monitored by a specialist in concussion management. Season 2024. Once you have registered on Coach AFL, your club will be able to provide you with access to your team. Please log into your account at playhq.com to access your fixtures and squad. Any queries regarding your log-on details, please contact your club registrar in the first instance. Each week, your team manager will be required to organise a number of volunteers who help ensure the match runs smoothly. These volunteers are identified by wearing a vest on game day. In 2022, some of these vest colours changed and have been phased in over a 3-year period, so both colours will be allowed in the 2024 season. The new interchange vest has been introduced for 2024, and this is being rolled out over a 2-year period. Coaches must wear the dark blue vest, while assistant coaches wear a light blue vest. Game times across Metro North will be standardised to assist umpires to be allocated to games more closely correlated with their skill level and assist clubs for play-ups in case of low team numbers. Friday nights are predominantly fixtured with our female competitions, with the younger age groups playing in the earlier time slot and the older teams in the later time slot. Sundays are predominantly fixtured with our mixed and male competitions, again with the younger age groups playing in the early time slots and the older ages in the later time slots. While the competition team will endeavour to fixture games within these standard time slots, there will be times where games are played outside of these. This may be due to an oval availability or umpire availability, or it could be because your club has requested a change in playing day for a special event. If for any reason your team is unavailable to play a certain fixture, please let your club registrar know as soon as possible. The following rules will continue for the 2024 season. Runners must be 18 years or older. This is because, as well as delivering messages from the coach, the runner's purpose is to de-escalate any on-field tension from their players and potentially remove players if required. In these situations, emotional maturity is required, with underage participants less likely to have this maturity. Team numbers in youth ages allow for all ages to have 5 on the bench in 2024. Year 7 to Year 10 competitions are 15 aside. Year 11 and 12 female competitions are 16 aside. And Year 11 and 12 male competitions are 18 aside. Zone sets have also been defined for all youth age competitions, as the importance of having wings has been identified by the WFC talent and coaching staff. A reminder that no unauthorised entry onto the field of play is permitted. Any coach, parent, spectator who enter the field whilst the game is in play will face sanctions. Sanctions for unauthorised encroachment start at 4 to 16 match bans. On the screen is the zone sets. These are also outlined in the rules and regulations. Supporting our umpires. Umpires play a key role in the successful delivery of community football. All team players, officials, parents and spectators are expected to adhere to a zero-tolerance stance against any form of umpire or official abuse, verbal dissent, intimidation or disputing of decisions. Just like players, our umpires are also learning and need our full support. Only the team manager may approach an umpire during the breaks in the match. They may not question decisions, interpretations or question the free kick count. By supporting our umpires, you play a vital role in developing the highest quality of umpires. As part of supporting our umpires is by abiding by the handshake policy. Coaches are expected to shake the hands of the match day umpires, both pre and post game. This mark of respect helps reinforce our commitment to influencing positive game day environments and is a visual example of behaviour from the coach to players and spectators. Coaches should also shake the hands with their opposition coach both pre and post game. If you do have any feedback for umpires, this should be given to your club president or registrar, who will pass the information on to the WFC umpiring department. Remember that all umpires are still learning, so only constructive and non-emotional feedback will be accepted. Season information. If you have not already been advised, round 1 will begin on the weekend of the 26th of April to the 28th of April. We will have bye rounds over the June long weekend and July school holidays. Round 14 will be our last round of ordinary fixtures before 3 weeks of finals begin. Grand finals for all youth age competitions, including mixed, male and female, will be played on Sunday the 8th of September. We hope to have the first 5 rounds of fixtures available as close to the 19th of April as possible, while the remaining fixtures will be released in early June. If your team is unavailable for a fixture, please contact your registrar to request a fixture change. Regrading will occur after round 5 over the June long weekend bye if required. Please note that if your competition is impacted by regrading, with either a team leaving or entering, the competition ladder will be reset to 0. The only element that will carry over is your E-points. In 2024, the WAC competition team will be able to regrade any team at any time during the season to ensure all teams remain competitive within their competitions for the season. This will be done at the discretion of the WAC competitions team in conjunction with the WAC competitions unit. This season we'll have the following special rounds acknowledged. Round 3 is Umpire Appreciation Round, where we acknowledge the vital role umpires play in our game. Round 8 is Socket to Sarcoma Round, where we raise awareness and much needed funds for important cause by wearing odd socks and donating gold coins. NAIDOC round will be over rounds 9 and rounds 10 in 2024. The District Dreaming round is a celebration of Indigenous culture and acknowledgement of the contributions from both Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australians to our great game. And round 12 is our Thank a Volunteer round, where we get to celebrate all the volunteers who contribute to our kids being able to play the game they love. Match duration for youth age competitions are 15-minute quarters for our Year 7 to 12 female competitions and our Year 7 to 8 mixed competitions. Our Year 9 mixed, Year 10 male and Year 11-12 male competitions are 20-minute quarters. All age groups have the same length of break times with 5 minutes for quarter time, 10 minutes for half time and 5 minutes for three-quarter time. Please remember to adhere to these times to ensure your games after yours are not delayed. Game day procedures. During the game, it is important to note that the coach's box is only for volunteers participating in the game. Additionally, players who are not playing in the game should not be sitting in the coach's box. The interchange area is a space available for your interchange steward and timekeeper or scorer. And please note that the interchange steward is able to leave their area and approach the coach's box to provide updates on rotations to the coach. If there are any game day issues, a conflict resolution is available to be used, which effectively escalates match day disputes. Please report any incidents of poor behaviour or sportsmanship to your club. Your club president will then make contact with the opposition club president and attempt to resolve the dispute. If and when needed, the WAC competitions team will then be notified of the incident and any resolution achieved. Thank you for participating in today's Coach Bouncedown. Should you have any further queries, please contact your club's coaches coordinator or club president. Please do not close this screen as you will be redirected to a short assessment. Thank you for volunteering to take on the essential role of coach for season 2024. We wish you a fun, safe and enjoyable season of football.